Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the PowerPC Linux Let's Play. This is what it's turning into, okay? Today, we are in macOS. This is not only a Linux video, but what we're going to be trying to do is dual booting macOS 10 Sorbet Leopard, which is what I'm using here, with Debian PowerPC Edition. Let's get started. So I've done a whole bunch of off-camera testing of Linux distros, and I've written all of that stuff up into a Reddit post, and I'll show it up on the screen right now, but you can check the Reddit post, it's linked in the description. So the first thing I want to do is head over to the Applications folder, and then Utilities, and head on to Disk Utility. And this is how we're going to partition the disk to, hopefully, theoretically this should work. I've also installed an SSD, I forgot to mention that. As you can see by the larger capacity. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a partition here. And I'm going to set this format. I guess I can't change the format, but I'll change it in Linux then. I'm going to change the name to be Linux part just Linux, and that's it's going to be empty for. Okay, why is it not letting me do this? Whatever, I'm just going to click apply. Empty name is going to be fine. Yeah, alright. Linux, Linux is fine, okay. And then click partition. But this is going to take a really, really long time because of the inefficiency in disk utility in this version. And so I'm going to come back once this is finished in around maybe 10 minutes.
One eternity later.
Alright, the computer's been sitting here for around half an hour, and it's doing absolutely nothing. I'm going to have to force close, or disk utility just quit with no problems. I'm guessing this is sometimes a glitch that happens with disk utility in this version of macOS and a lot of older versions of macOS where disk utility will say it's doing something, but it actually is doing nothing. And if we look at the hard drive here, yeah, absolutely no even like resemblance of changes being made. So generally, when I have this sort of problem, the solution is to turn on the garbage drive. And yes, the internal CD drive on this computer does work, but I don't ever use it, really. I think the best solution is to grab a program I found called iPartition. That is basically a Mac boot disk that has partitioning software from, I forget where, I found it on Macintosh Garden. I'm going to go ahead and reboot the computer from that disk, and then it should partition just fine. I've never used iPartition, but it should work. There shouldn't be any problems, I hope, crossing our fingers. Alright, now it's loading the disk. Alright, here we are in iPartition. So, there you go. Now, I've never used this program, but I think, yeah, this should work. So now if I split this in half like this, yeah, whatever, this is close enough. And I click go, and it says, okay. Did it just work? Was it that fast? Did it just like literally work? It seems weirdly fast. But let's see if the OS actually like still boots. Okay, it seems to be booting up from the hard drive. Let's see what disk utility says. I just want to see. I do partition. Yeah, you see blank space right here. For the partition map. I'm going to go ahead and put in my Debian PowerPC Edition disk. Stick in the garbage drive. Restart. Now I've installed Debian on this machine twice, so I already know like all the ins and outs of getting grub working and all that. but I have no idea if it's going to work properly with this dual booting setup, because I've never installed Grub dual booting on anything other than Windows. Alright, let's go to the new OS. Get it? New, GNU. Okay, I'll shut up. Please focus, camera. Focus. 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 I guess you aren't going to focus, but this one says default install, okay? Just believe me. Believe me when I say that. English, United States, American English is now detecting hardware. No, I know how to get Wi-Fi working, and it is not using the Debian installer. And now the screen's in focus. My internet is this one because the internal Ethernet port won't work, and so I'm using a USB cable, and it's working just fine. PPC, Debian, dual boot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Distro Hopper 39B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Eastern. Alright, now I need to do for disk configuration. Normally I just do this one here, but I need to do manual. And then I want to do guided partitioning, I think. No, I want to do manual. I want to do this and then create a new partition. Make the new partition 256 megabytes. I think, is it 256 MB or 256 M? Whatever, I'll do MB. Beginning. And then I'm going to name this thing Bootstrap. Why is the A key not working? There we go. Bootstrap. Use as. Doesn't say here. It doesn't say the one I want to use. So I'm just going to click do not use this partition. And the rest of this is going to be create a new partition. That's going to be, I'm not going to put a swap partition because we have 1.25 gigs of RAM. That's enough for now. Name untitled. Done setting up partition. And this will probably give an error. Yeah, it says you have not selected anything for swap space. Yeah, I want to continue. And it's going to give an error when the Grub installation happens pretty much immediately, because I need to make an HFS partition manually on the Grub partition and then install Grub manually. It might even like not install Grub at all, because that's the only way I can actually like get a bootable system is using Grub, obviously. So I'm going to time-lapse this because it's incredibly, incredibly boring. Alright, we're almost getting to the point where I am guaranteed to get an error message, and if I don't, I'm going to end up with a non-functional system, but I know what to do to circumvent the error message, and that's to set up the bootstrap partition and install grub manually, and hopefully that works. Alright, unsurprisingly, that failed, so the solution is to head over to Alt F2, press enter to activate the console. I need to do ls. I want to do chroot /target, and then is that a thing? All right, it doesn't seem like that's a thing. I'll have to install, but what I do need to install is I think it's that. apt-get install HFS utils. I think this is the package. Alright, that's the package. Hello, I want to pause here and say that I did something wrong. In fact, I could have probably gotten it working if I actually installed grub properly and didn't install the wrong package that is the package name for Arch instead of the package name for Debian. I tried to install a package called HFS utils, but the Debian equivalent is HFS progs. I probably could have gotten this entire thing to work if not for that simple mistake. You know, I'm pretty sure Debian's just not going to work for this, actually. Debian doesn't have support, but I do have another trick up my sleeve to get Linux dual booting at all, which is using Lubuntu PowerPC Remix. So I'm going to go ahead and install that, power off the machine. The main problem with Ubuntu PowerPC Remix is that it's a couple years old and it will never receive any more updates because some of the port servers for PowerPC have even gone down. The server that provides all the updates and security updates for 1604 has gone down, so no software will ever be able to update. I'll leave a link to the PowerPC Remix that I am using in the description below. Let's go ahead and load this up. And I'm going to just press enter because this computer has full graphics support on Linux. Alright, we're in Lubuntu, so let's go ahead and install. I'm going to have to do the custom installation. So let's go ahead and click continue. I'm going to click on this one, but not that one. Alright, now I'm going to do something else. I'm going to go ahead and remove this ext4 partition. I tried the manual partitioning, but I had a problem. I couldn't get the New World boot partition to work properly. So I decided to try the automatic install alongside functionality and see if that would work. So I have one other idea that could maybe make this thing work. And that is to quit out of this program and go ahead into, do I have gparted? Is gparted on here? Because I can use that, or I could boot into macOS. Gparted is on here. Okay. Delete this partition. And delete this partition, so it's all unallocated. So now if I close out of gparted, reinstall Lubuntu. Alright, now says install Lubuntu alongside macOS 10. That's what I was trying to get it to do. Yeah, I'm just going to click continue. Screw it. I don't give a crap about anything on here. I just want to click continue and hope that this will actually work. But I wouldn't be surprised if Yaboot installation fails, in which case it's back to the drawing board as far as I'm concerned. distro hopper 39B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continue. Alright, we're getting close to the part where the bootloader is going to be installed, and that's the moment of truth, pretty much, where we're going to find out what is going to happen with the bootloader installation, and how it even partitioned the drive, because I don't know what it did to the drive. I don't know where it put all the files. Alright, it's installing Yaboot. Okay. Alright, what is it doing? Blessing / dev / SDA2 with Holy Penguin P. Okay, the installation has actually completed. Can't believe it. And yep, it seems like it's rebooting. So now I'm going to hold down Option and see whether it detects the hard drive at all. Because I wouldn't be surprised if the hard drive just dies, or not dies, doesn't show up in the boot menu at all, and this corrupted both my Mac OS installation and the Linux installation. So, okay. Wow. 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 It looks like they're both actually here. That's a surprise. I did not expect that. I fully expected both of them to not work. But it looks like Linux and Mac OS are both installed on this computer, dual booting perfectly fine. So I'm going to boot into Linux here. And it looks like there's L for Linux, X for Mac OS 10, and C for CD-ROM. I'm just going to click L, press Enter. I've used Yaboot a lot. I know all the whole story for how Yaboot works and all that. And look at that. We are at the login screen. There we go. We can log into the OS. And look at that. We are in the operating system. We can go and do whatever we want. We have a couple of applications installed. I didn't install anything special on here. I'm just going to launch Interweb. Which is a browser by Wiknix, who made this entire Ubuntu PowerPC remix. So I can't see the about, or there's probably some way. Menu bar, okay. Help about Interweb. Yeah, it's a community-based software by Wiknix. I think it exists on Mac OS as well. Some screen tearing. That's not a surprise. And try youtube.com/distrohopper39B. Sometimes YouTube does that to older browsers. It just causes them to crash immediately. Continue script. Because YouTube has so many scripts, it's insane. I'm not going to sit here waiting for YouTube to load for 50 hours straight. I'm going to actually reboot the computer and try to boot back into Mac OS X through the Alt menu first, and then I'll try the Yaboot menu because I have little confidence in the Yaboot menu. Looks like we got a working OS, and it's booted in to the OS. Where's the desktop wallpaper? There we go. Yeah, it's just taking a minute to load. Yep, there we go. Everything's up and running. Go about this Mac. 10.5.9, 1.5 gigahertz G4, 1.25 gigs of RAM. Everything is working. Alright, yeah, this is exactly what I expected to see. Except I guess this is swap, and the Bootstrap isn't showing up. So I'm guessing it's either doing something else for Bootstrap, or it's just hidden in Mac OS. So what I want to see is, first of all, when I restart the computer, I want to see whether it boots into Linux or Mac OS initially. And then I want to see whether if I press X at the Yaboot prompt, it will boot into Mac OS X. Alright, I booted into Linux, I'm not surprised. I'm going to press X. Alright, it seems like it's actually going to boot. Yep. It's not up to the stage where I can say confidently that it is going to boot, but yes it is. Okay, it's going to boot. Now I'm going to reboot back into Linux and see if I can get a better look at the hard drive. L for Linux. Enter. Alright, we're booting in. Alright, here we are. So, I'm going to go ahead to the terminal here. I'm going to type sudo apt update. And there's going to be some error, I think, here, because the Xenial updates and Xenial backports repositories no longer support PowerPC. Let's see. Yep. Thankfully, I can still install everything. So I'm going to do sudo apt install GNOME disk utility. Okay, it's already installed. So now I'm going to do system tools. I don't know where it is. Disks. Okay, it's in preferences for some reason. This is the layout of the drive, it seems. So there's the Apple partition map reserved, and then there's a free space. I don't know why there's free space here. And then, I don't know why that's a check mark. I'm guessing that's just an icon pack issue. And this is the Mac OS partition. Bootstrap. It seems like there is a Bootstrap partition. What's interesting is Yaboot only uses a 1 megabyte Bootstrap partition, which is way lower than the amount that Grub recommends. Sometimes it doesn't even install unless I choose 250 megabytes. 4 whole gigabytes of swap and 25 kilobytes of not unknown, most likely just free space pretty much. So I think that is going to be it for today. I got Linux and macOS dual booting on PowerPC, which is nice. And I did not really expect it to work that smoothly when I gave up on Grub distros and used a Yaboot distro. Anyways, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the future.